Cheers to another week. This is Pregaming. I'm Serena Morales with everyone's friend and no one's friend, Kevin Klein. How are you?
How dare you? I am full of sodium after a night of eating Benihana flip shrimp, and I am in the mood to deliver some winners today with the help of our friends, the Cappers, of course. We got a great show planned for you. There's a lot of bullshit gambling shows out there, a lot of things you could be doing, wasting your time right now, including actually watching a real NFL game that's happening on the other side of the pond. But we appreciate you starting your day with us. We have been historically pretty damn accurate, and definitely when we're not accurate, we're at least having a good time. So no suits, no ties, no, and welcome. It's good to have you with us.
We're here every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern giving you picks with the best gamblers, as Kevin has alluded to. Today, the usual suspects will be joining us, our guy and father of Thor, the most ballsy dog we know, Kenny Bets Big, plus Danny Brasco from Pick Profit. All right, here we go. Do you want to get into the 2-minute drill, Kev?
Let's do it. Here we go. 2-minute drill. Hit us with the clock. You know, this is exciting because today is one of those days where we get the best of the best and the worst of the worst, okay? We've got, obviously, the greatest game, perhaps, of the NFL season to this point happening a little bit later on between the Chargers and, of course, the Baltimore Ravens. That's going to be a great one. People are very highly anticipating it, as they should be. Currently in that one, in case you're keeping track, Baltimore is still favored by 3, although I see that line moving to 2.5 at some sports books. And then you've got the worst of the worst, which is happening right now in London. This game is, of course, the Jaguars and the Dolphins. We've now given London 2 weeks in a row of just terrible football matchups with teams that we don't want. And I'm pretty sure, like we last time, the team that loses this game should live in London, right? Isn't that the plan?
They should just stay there. You're not allowed back on the plane. That's as safe a Squid Game as you could possibly paint it. For my topic, I got to talk about the Cardinals. Head coach Cliff Kingsbury was tested positive for COVID-19. He's going to miss today's game against the Browns. The Browns are favored in this game. Kyler Murray listed on the injury report Wednesday with a shoulder injury. He was limited in practice. DeAndre Hopkins missed Wednesday and Thursday's practice due to an illness. Apparently not COVID. They picked up Zach Ertz, but that ain't going to help them right now because he's not active. Is this the loss for the Cardinals? Are they losing?
It's kind of shocking to think about this because the Cardinals, as you know, the only undefeated team left in all of the NFL, and they are underdogs against Cleveland, underdogs against the Dogs, which is kind of a weird thing to think about. It makes no sense, and yet it's what's happening right now. So think about it, the value of the head coach. I know Kenny will get into this a little bit later as we talk about how Oakland will bounce back their first week without their head coach. And so it'll be interesting to see, does the coach matter that much? And the answer is, in this one, it definitely shifted the line quite a bit. So I don't see Arizona losing this game, but once again, we are not the pros. And there's our time. There's the whistle. All of our budget for season 1 went to the whistle sound effect. So there you go.
Ding. That was your little ding. Thank you. All right, that was our other budget. That's it. That's the end of the show.
We're done.
All right.
We're tapped.
Let's bring in our buddy Gowie for our 6-pack. We're focusing on our top MVP candidates so far this season, so let's get into it. Obviously, let's just put it out there. You're looking at his head. He's wearing a Ravens cap. I wouldn't be surprised if someone that rhymes with Famar Laxon, ends up on this list. But in no particular order, Gowie, let's get your first MVP candidate so far this season.
Okay, in no particular order, you have to go with the GOAT, Tom Brady. Tom Brady has to be on your list, number one, because he's the leading in passing yards and he's the leader in touchdowns. So to be this guy who's supposed to be a dinosaur at this point in his career and to be leading the NFL as he is right now, and his team has a great record, you got to have Tom Brady on your list.
Tom Brady obviously continuing to break records, which is shocking to absolutely nobody. I mean, we like to pretend like we're shocked by it, but I think even as people say, can you believe Tom Brady just had his first game with 400-plus yards and 4 touchdowns, 500? and you can't even pretend to be shocked by it anymore. He is still, and this is kind of shocking, at this point, you can still get him at plus 800 to be the MVP this season. So if you think about that, like you would think Brady, any season going in would be like even money, maybe minus 110. The fact he's still plus 800 at this point in the season is truly remarkable to think about it, because yes, the NFL does have a love affair with Tom Brady. The NFL is super hot for Tom Brady, and some have argued that refs have made calls in his favor for years. I could see this already being a foregone conclusion that he is the MVP. And plus 800, you put 100 down, end of the season, you get 800 while he's tongue kissing his kids. That's a win, baby.
Yeah, Gowie, I mean, you mentioned that Tom Brady's like a dinosaur at this point, but like, what's the oldest dinosaur? It's a cockroach. So Tom Brady's probably the most beautiful cockroach we've ever seen in that sense.
Sure is.
All right. Who's your second? Who's your number two?
Before I get into that, I think that's the first time I've seen somebody use cockroach as a compliment.
We don't know.
But,
we don't know.
But number two on my list, I have the guy who is coming of age, or I should say he's already there. We have Justin Herbert of the Chargers. The Chargers are currently 4-1, and Herbert has had some of the most difficult games compared to everybody that I have on my list right now. And his only loss came as a 3-point loss to Dallas. And Dallas, once again, is another team that's very good. So I think he has to get his recognition for where he has his team right now. So I have him not number two, but he is the second guy on my list.
Plus 700, you can get those odds on Herbert. And look, you know, as opposed to Brady, who we just chatted about, where everyone assumed he would have a great season. I mean, the guy's got enough rings. He's running out of fingers. Herbert is a bit of a surprise for people. I think it was a real, like, we don't know what we will necessarily get. So in some ways, where he's at in the season right now is more shocking. It's like when that random actor that no one's ever heard of wins the best actor in the Academy Awards, and they beat Meryl Streep or someone that you would expect the Tom Hanks. I look at putting money on a few of these names that you're throwing out here, Gowie, because these are all guys, like, realistically, someone that you're giving us in this six-pack is going to be the MVP of the NFL this season. So why not, take a little bit of money and sprinkle a little bit here, sprinkle a little bit there. I'm actually surprised you get Herbert at plus 700 still. I find that to be such good value.
Yeah.
Herbert has 7 games with 3 touchdowns or more and 0 interceptions. He's only played 20 games, so I like that value. I'm all in for that.
Yeah, Justin Herbert is definitely a guy that you need to be putting money on. And speaking of Dallas, as I mentioned with the Herbert, I have Dak Prescott, the guy who may get comeback player of the year. That's what it is possibly looking like. But one thing about Dak, in my personal opinion, I feel like he's been the most consistent. You have him averaging about 3 touchdowns per game, and he has Dallas, once again, just like everybody else in the most valuable player competition, in a good position. The Dallas Cowboys are doing great. They look the best that they've looked in years, and you got to give credit to Dak for being that anchor for the team.
Not a comeback, a comeback this season. No one knows what's going to happen. There was a lot of anticipation. And everyone knows that Jerry Jones has a deal with the devil. Everyone knows that Jerry Jones and the devil are on each other's speed dial. So it wouldn't surprise me that there's deals being made right now that will be paid off in the afterlife. But what we're seeing out of Dax, it's remarkable as well. Fun guy to play. It's like, all these guys, can they stay healthy? Will they remain healthy this season? That will determine. It's almost, you talk about Squid Games earlier, but in some ways, that's what the NFL is. It's like, which number will be the last one standing at the end? And if it's Dak, like, yeah, that's a guy that currently is at plus 700 as well. Still crazy odds you can get. A guy could be MVP. If Cowboys go deep into the playoffs this season, I don't even think they have to win. Like, if they just go deep, I don't see why he wouldn't, because it's a feel-good story as well. And as we said earlier, the direct line between Jerry Jones and the devil himself.
Speaking of Jerry Jones, I think Kevin and Jerry Jones have the same diet. They both eat the same breakfast sandwiches. I know that for a fact. So
That's
do
true.
you add extra
That's
salt
true.
to yours?
I add salt. I do. I actually snort a line of salt off the table before I eat it.
Oh my God.
Hey, there's my cup. I missed your cup.
Gowie, I would say that, yes, Dak has been the most consistent. However, the defense has certainly helped the Cowboys, which I think leads us to another person. I like this one. Go for it.
Exactly. And like we were talking about Jerry Jones making deals with the devil, he must really be doing this because he has another guy on this list named Trayvon Diggs. This guy has been outstanding on the defensive end. I'm not understanding why quarterbacks still throw in his direction, but he's snagged 6 interceptions and he has a pick 6. So for number one to be a defender on the MVP list, that's already something that's not really common. And then on top of that, to be amongst the names that he's amongst, and it's just crazy. You got to give him his props.
I'll tell you right now, if you want to live in Fantasyland for a moment and you throw $100 on this guy to get your MVP, that would pay off at plus $75,000. That's a plus 75. I'm not even sure if I'm saying that correctly. That sounds almost too high. That is how rare it is that an MVP would ever go to someone this. If it does, the stats hold up. And they decide sometimes it gets to a place where they go, we can't play favorites over quarterbacks because too many of them are doing too many similar things. Let's just go away from that altogether and take another position. $100 to turn into $75,000. Woo! That's like Kenny Betts big money right there. That's nice.
By the way, if you guys are just joining us, you're watching Pregaming. Kevin Klein, we got Gowie joining us on our 6-pack, and we're getting through how to make some money, some insane amounts of money. If you want to put money on a defensive player for MVP, I'm all about it. Who else you got, Gowie?
All right, next on my list, I have Kyler Murray. We can't overlook Kyler Murray. He's doing his thing. I know we talked about earlier he's dealing with a shoulder injury. Not sure how serious it is, but at this very moment, the Arizona Cardinals are at 5-0, the only undefeated team in the NFL. So by that, you have to give him some recognition for the MVP conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Plus 650 now, actually the lowest payoff of any of the people we've chatted about in the MVP hunt. So the numbers are starting to get a little bit more realistic, but still, I look at it like that. If you throw even 20% everyone we've chatted about, one of the people you're hearing right now, season, mark my words, I will be buried under a pile of empty plastic red cups, but I promise you this, one of these guys will get MVP, and there's no reason why Kyler's name isn't and shouldn't be on the list as well. Doesn't necessarily have the same like buzz as some of the other names we mentioned right now, but plus 650, there you go. And of course, Arizona, no one ever expects much of them ever, so it's kind of shocking.
It is kind of crazy. I think Arizona has been sort of, we're still like, huh? You're 5-0, but Kyler Murray, got to give props to him, obviously. And before we get to your final pick, which is more obvious than not, send us your questions because we will answer your questions at the end of this show. This is Pregaming. We're here every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern before the slate of Sunday games. There's a game on right now that you probably aren't watching. Neither are we. Either way, it's in London. We're going to keep that team who loses right over there. We're going to let them stay there, and I hope it's a team led by Urban Meyer. No offense to anyone else.
Also, Serena, we should mention that whoever asked the best question today gets to pick whatever pair of sneakers they want from behind the Kid Gowie. So if the best question today, you get to go ahead and grab one of those boxes of shoes. That was very generous of you. We appreciate you offering to do that. Thank you, Gowie.
Can't make any promises.
All right, Gowie, who's the final person on your list, final player that you are like MVP candidate?
Come on now, I had to save the best for last. This person, and I'm not sure if I want to drop a name yet. Let me butter him up real quick. This person right now is only the second unanimous MVP in NFL history. He's currently a top 5 passer in the NFL, currently a top 10 rusher in the NFL. What more do you want? What more can you say when it comes to most valuable player to his team? You've got to throw out the name Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson has been doing everything he possibly can for the Ravens. 4 or 5, I didn't lose count at how many comeback wins and game-winning drives he's had this season. He is the epitome of an MVP, so don't be surprised if he wins it. Knock on wood.
I couldn't believe he could even get through the last 5 names without spouting this out. He was just sitting there waiting like a champagne bottle, just waiting to explode. Lamar Jackson at plus $1,300, which I find to be the most shocking of all the numbers we've given right now. I don't know how his odds are so much lower than some of the other guys you've heard of, because he could be best quarterback in the league and best running back in the league by the end of the season. So Lamar Jackson at plus $1,300 is kind of to me, the biggest value of everyone we just mentioned, and it's kind of remarkable. And I know that, I believe, is it true or false, Gowie? You already got that Lamar Jackson MVP tramp stamp on your lower back. Is that true or false?
Yes.
Let's say it's a little bit higher. It's in my mid back.
Okay.
He's more classy than that, Kevin. By the way, Ravens Chargers today. How you feeling, Gowie?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm confident to a certain degree, but the way that the Colts ran on us last week, I'm a little concerned. And I saw, Anthony Avery getting targeted, so I'm more concerned with defense than I am with offense. So I'm kind of in the middle. So.
All right. Well, good luck today for your team, and it's great to have you on, Gowie. Ravens fan. He's going with Lamar Jackson all the way. That's our 6-pack.
Thanks, bud. Appreciate you. Remember,
problem.
questions, get them to us, because at the end of the show, we will be rapid firing these questions, giving you the answers. Maybe there's specific games you need information on, lines. Perhaps it's players. It could be fantasy related stuff. Could be some crazy parlays you're working on. Get the questions to us throughout the show. As always, we'll be joined in just a few seconds by our cappers, Kenny Betts Big and Danny Brasco. We will break them all down. And just like that, look who enters the arena, the Red Cup Nation. Good morning, gentlemen. How goes it?
Kenny's just like...
Oh, Kenny. Kenny's having a...
Cheers, guys. Good to be with you guys. No better place to be than with some fellow DJs.
Oh, boy. Kenny's screen sharing. Go figure.
we
promise you... Yeah, all of his secrets right here. And he's going to find out how this guy's really doing. Danny, let's start with you. Kenny gets some tech support over there, wherever the hell he is right now. This guy, for all we know, he's in Peru. I mean, the guy's in a different country every week we talk to him, so who knows? It's such a great week to be together. It's week 6 of NFL action. We love joining forces together, as you know, every morning. It's a great way for people to start their days. We would say gather the family around and enjoy some pre-gaming, but this is probably not a family-friendly show. Because we do love talking about the big picks and the big games. In a moment, I will give you a totally exclusive prop that you will only get right here, and it pertains to John Gruden's future employment. But here he is back on the big screen and figuring out how to get himself off mute. Kenny Betts Big. Do not bet on him when it comes to tech support. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. I came on here and then it started sharing my whole computer screen. I panicked real quick.
Yes. Take a pen down, start writing down his algorithms. Oh man.
Yeah,
All right, let's get
what's the website happyhumping.com, and why were you there 6 times yesterday?
Can you imagine I had something like that up on the screen? Jesus.
Yes,
yeah, we can imagine it because we just saw it.
You almost got John Gruden.
Yeah. Trying to read those emails quickly. Jeez.
Oh, man. Jeez, yikes.
Man. Okay,
yeah,
well,
I popped up on the screen and I'm looking and I'm like, why does that look like what I'm looking at on my screen?
We were looking at what you were looking at, so thanks for that. Let's look at some games, shall we? We've got today's game. Kenny, I'm going to start with you since you're on the hot seat already. You are looking at the Bengals at Lions plus 3.5.
Yeah, I don't know how I follow up that performance, right? But I'll try. So I know Detroit is 0-5, but they've been competitive in every game outside of the second half versus the Green Bay Packers, right? And let's be honest, nobody wants to see a grown man cry. Lions head coach Dan Campbell was in tears after last week's epic collapse. That's back-to-back heartbreaking losses for this Lions team. So I think they come to play this week. And, the Bengals head coach, Zach Taylor, is 2-14 straight up on the road. So this is a great spot to back the Lions plus 3.5.
I have had the eye of the tiger, as you know, all season. You guys have mocked me week after week after week when I talk about the Bengals covering, the Bengals winning, the Bengals life. I do think the Bengals have kind of cool uniforms. I've always thought that. It's underrated, perhaps. But I don't know how, Kenny, you can say as a professional capper, or even as a human being, put money on Detroit. I mean, that seems to be the mantra of the show. Sorry, Detroit. Sorry, Lions. How are you possibly saying this right now?
I mean, you may say, how do you put money on Detroit? But they've been covering these games. Like, they didn't win last week, but they covered. They didn't beat the Ravens the week prior, but they covered. So, plus 3.5. They don't have to win the game as long as they lose by 3 or less. We're cashing the bet.
Right.
Just so you know,
it's pretty
Cincy has
scary
covered
game
the
to bet on
spread.
too.
Of course it is. And historically, Bengals, Detroit, 4 of the last 5, Bengals have covered the spread, just in case you care about historical stuff. I know new season, new game, all that stuff. But just if you look at everything like that, like I crunched the numbers in as many ways as I could because I love getting some, and just like every way I did it, I even did a Madden simulation. That's how bored I was. And as far as I was, and in that one, and that, everyone goes to that. Cincinnati won by 7. So I just feel like they're going to win the game and they're going to cover. Sorry, Detroit. Sorry, Detroit.
Oh, gosh.
Well, playing the post-grown man tears angle is a strong angle. Like, if that doesn't inspire you, it will. And I don't blame him for crying. I mean, if you're talking about the Ravens loss where they covered, that was an impossible loss. One of the longest field goals you ever see after a 4th down chuck just to get to midfield. And they cover last week, and I'd be crying too. I don't care where I am. So the post-tears angle is strong. I think they come for Dan Campbell today, but it's a terrifying game to bet on. I give you props. You got some cojones, bro.
Cojones.
What do they say?
I mean,
scared money don't make money, right?
Yeah, if I ever go broke, I'm going to take your money.
Look, the Bengals are tied with Chicago for 4th fewest first downs this season, just in random stat. But it does mean that Detroit's defense may be able to give their offense, if Jared Goff doesn't turn over the ball, hey, I love a grown man crying. Who doesn't love a grown man crying? Dan Campbell, you cried enough. Stop crying and let's at least win some money on this game. I think it would be a closer game than not. Let's move on. All right. Danny, you have Chargers. Oh my goodness, you have this game. You have Packers at Bears. I'm moving ahead.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at this rivalry here. It should be a rivalry, Packers-Bears, right? Classic matchup, but not much of a rivalry. The Packers have dominated. It's been really one-sided. Given the Packers are going to be a really public team here, but the public wins too. We forget that, right? Sharp every now and then. We've seen some sharp angles come in. Those blades have been pretty dull in a lot of games where the sharp money came in as of late. In this one, I'm not seeing any of it, and I like that because I think the Packers are just a wagon right now. Mason Crosby did everything he possibly could do to lose that game last week, and they still won against the Bengals. It was a disgusting game, but following that, I got to feel like he gets it together. Dude has freaking 2 left feet, but maybe he can put a couple field goals in this week. Regardless, they're playing in Soldier Field. Some people say, well, they're going into a tough place to play. Packers are 10-1 in their last 11 games at Soldier Field. All they do is dominate the Bears in their own crib. It doesn't matter. And just to cap everything off, Matt Nagy, not for me. Not a fan. I mean, a couple games ago, we're talking about if he's throwing games and purposefully calling bad plays for Justin Fields so he can, end the experiment. I don't believe in this guy as a coach. And week 1, we're talking about Aaron Rodgers, Olivia Munn, his personal life, and all of a sudden, who are we to ever doubt this man? They're on fire now. I'm attaching myself to the Packers wagon, no problem.
The under has paid off the last 4 Bears games. If you want to go away from who's going to win this one, you don't care about the spread, you care about the points. It's moved from 46 it opened at. It's at 44.5 right now. I think that, as we've learned this season, kickers are not reliable, extra points are not reliable, field goals are not reliable. So I look at this, and I hate to say under. As you know, I hate gambling, hate betting unders. I look at this like it's a strong underplay. I don't know how you feel about that, Kenny or Danny, if you put any thoughts into the over-under in this one, but I'm scared on both teams, and so I want to have action on the game, of course. God forbid there's a game that happens I don't have personal money on. Any thoughts on the over-under? Kenny, we'll start with you on this one.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would lean under on this one. It's always scary betting an under, especially in an NFL game that's featuring Aaron Rodgers. But division matchup, Chicago's defense is still the heart of that team. So for them to have any chance in this game, they're going to have to keep it like a low-scoring, ugly slugfest type of game. So I would lean under also.
Yeah, I guess if I were to look at the total, I would agree with you guys. You know the saying, life's too short to bet the under. Totally disagree. Life is long and agonizing and painful and arduous and difficult. So bet some unders and get after it. You know, just that's the reality here. You know, I would agree with that. Division matchups, you know, unders are usually nice plays there. And to one more point, if you are afraid about those 6 points, about the Bears potentially covering, they haven't beaten the Packers since 2018, and they haven't covered in any of those games since then anyway. So Packers and the under look like nice plays here, actually.
Unless Olivia Munn is about to have another baby, I mean, you got to pick the Packers in this game, right? You guys are watching Pregaming. That's Kenny Bets Big, Danny Brasco, Kevin Klein. Join us every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern and send us in your questions. If you have questions, because we're going to answer them at the end of the show. Go ahead, Kevin. What were you going? You were going to say something? What?
Well, I just was going to let you know you don't have to necessarily have a red cup to join the show. People asking that question, I see that coming through. We're just letting you know this is a less serious pregame gambling show. There's a lot of bullshit out there. You'll notice no shirt, no suits and ties. In fact, the fact that Danny Brasco is wearing a collared shirt, he's technically already violated our dress code for today's show by being too dressed up. But we will not hold that against him because he's giving valuable knowledge. Before you call your bookie, before you throw in your official bets, it's worth listening to what you hear here. Sure, some nonsense, but every once in a while, Kenny Bets Big accidentally shares his screen with us, and we learn exactly what he was Googling yesterday. So that's exciting, and that's what the show is all about. We move on to the next game, and I believe it's Kenny, and it's the game that I think will be the greatest game of the season so far. I'll be super disappointed if it's Kenny Bets Big. What do we got?
So you've been pretty spot on in calling these game of the years. I think the last one was the Raiders-Ravens one, and that was a great Monday Night Football. So hopefully you're right about this one. I know I'm usually on here dropping trends and stats and all these different types of numbers, but I don't have any of that for this game. I got 2 words: Lamar Jackson. The guy's playing out of his mind. He looks like the best football player in the league right now. The Chargers, we saw last week, they can't stop the run. I don't know how they even won that game. They got dominated in every facet of the game, literally every facet. I think the Browns were the first team to put up over 500 yards, 200 yards rushing, no turnovers, and still lose the game. So, I like the Ravens a lot in this spot. I think we're going to see Lamar Jackson have himself a nice day through the air and on the ground rushing, and Ravens should definitely cover this spread.
Oof. Lamar Jackson said, I haven't even seen my peak yet, which is a little scary, right, Danny?
All he has to do is go poop. You go in the bathroom, you go poop. Lamar Jackson becomes a superhero. I guess the first half against the Colts, he was just constipated a little bit. He just needed to, have a little coffee or an X-Lax, whatever it was, whatever gets it going. And after that, once he's clean and flush, he's the most unstoppable man in the league.
It's frustrating to hear him say he hasn't even hit his peak yet, because I hit my peak in 7th grade. So I've been on like a downhill since then. I've been like, and then boom, puberty hit me hard. But I'll tell you right now, thank you, Cup. It's nice to know. I mean, look, are we seeing right? People are getting super excited, and it's hard to bet against a quarterback that just figures out ways to win games. What we saw happen, I mean, look, people were leaving that game saying there's no chance Baltimore is going to win. Down, I think, 16 at the start of the 4th quarter. I had the game on and off, and I was even bored with it at some point. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, this is interesting. Wait a minute. If they score a couple times, get a couple 2-point conversions, they could tie it up. But the odds of that happening, I mean, during that game, if you were betting moving lines, you could have still gotten Baltimore into the 4th quarter at, I think, plus 450, plus 500. It was amazing to watch what was happening. And then as it turned around, the game went to overtime. And as you know, I've been saying put some money on these overtimes, games hitting overtimes at plus 800s, plus 1,000s all season. I could see this one happening today. I love one of my outside locks on this one, the game being completely tied at halftime and the game being tied at the end of the game going into overtime, because there's just something about, and Baltimore's done it now twice. It happened, I believe, with the Raiders earlier. It happened again with the Colts last week. So I just think that's one of those extra exciting things that's happening this year with that team. So I like that as well as an outside. Put a little sprinkle on the game being knotted up at the half and tied going into overtime.
For our next game, we've got Raiders at Broncos. Now, Rich Bisaccia was named the Raiders interim head coach, the former special teams coordinator. He's been an NFL coach for nearly 40 years, but this will be his first head coaching position. You both have a bet on this game. Kenny, I'll start with you. How do you see this game, especially with the Raiders and a brand new head coach?
I know everyone's thinking the Raiders have no shot this week. You know, there's absolute chaos out in Vegas. No one really knows what state the locker room is in, but I'm going to back the Raiders here. The line is sitting at
Nevada. The state is Nevada.
But they're not the Nevada Raiders. They're the Las Vegas Raiders. Come on, Kevin, get it right.
I'm just letting you know. I see what you're saying. Okay. I thought you were confused geographically.
But yeah, so this line is sitting Raiders plus 5.5 now. I thought when it was Raiders plus 3.5, I thought that was too many. So I'm definitely going to jump on the plus 5.5 here. I mentioned earlier this week, teams who fired their NFL coach mid-season actually do pretty well the following week against the spread. Last year, the Falcons fired Dan Quinn and the Texans fired Bill O'Brien midseason after their 0-5 and 0-4 starts respectively. Both teams go on the following week and win outright. I don't know if the Raiders will win this one outright, but I think they can keep it close and cover the spread for sure.
Danny, you feel similarly? Or are you going, nah, man, the state of Nevada is crazy?
I actually do like, I'm not playing the spread personally, but if I was going to, I would take the points with the Raiders. I do like Kenny's post-firing coach angle. That does tend to fire up a locker room. And look, we're seeing what came out from John Gruden. Like, that stuff is awful, man. Like, I got to imagine some of those guys just didn't like him at all. So it might be a nice change of pace to get that jerk out of there now, So hopefully, we see some fire in them. And for me, instead of playing the spread, but to a similar point, taking the points, I like the under in this game, which also moved a little bit. Kenny was talking about movement on the spread. I see movement on the over-under too, perhaps because Melvin Gordon, the running back of the Denver Broncos, is probable to play now. But that's not really going to impact me either way in this. I like the under here just because Mile High Stadium's not so easy to score. I mean, we see altitude affect teams in the Denver Nuggets, right, in the NBA, and then in Mile High Stadium here playing against the Broncos. 8 out of the last 9 matchups between these teams have played to the under. And if you don't love trends like that, just riding that, I can understand. But you take a look at both Raiders games this season on the road, played to the under. Both Broncos home games this season, played to the under. So wherever it goes, in this spot, these teams are going under the number. And I like it at 44 here. A lot of the time, those low numbers, scare the public away, or they'll jump on the over. And I love that because then, as I say, we're going my under angle. The life is long and painful under angle. I'm patenting that 100%. So I like Kenny's points with the Raiders, and I like this game to be scrappy, gritty, and stay low scoring.
I also like what Danny says about revenge. Players that realize that Gruden was potentially, not a good person, and all of a sudden they go, if we lose this game, it's going to look like we needed him to win. And so there's that extra revenge factor or proving that we need to get the win without the coach. It's kind of a combination of what Danny said and obviously what Kenny said. But think about that. Throw that, mix it with the altitude right there. You've got interesting angles on a game that most people are just going to break down based on stats and how these teams have done historically against each other. But as you know, NFL is one giant soap opera, and sometimes the drama off the field definitely impacts what happens on the field. And this is one of those games, and that will be it'll be fun to watch. A little bit later on, we will give you a very exclusive prop bet, and that will be what will be John Gruden's next job. Will there be another job? We think we have the odds, and you're only going to get those right here.
Okay.
Flipping
burger.
Can't wait to see those.
We're going to wrap up our power hour with the last game. Danny, Bills at Titans. They're at -6. How do you feel about this one?
Monday night matchup. I can't wait for Monday to get here because, oh my God, the Bills are fun to watch. I mean, they are monsters this season. And what's impressing me, of course, we know how electric Josh Allen has been, the deep threats they have on that team with, Stephon Diggs doing whatever he wants on the outside. Now they added Emmanuel Sanders, who catches a bomb touchdown every game now. They have so many options on offense. They're just clicking. But what's most impressive to me, even maybe under the radar, is they have some of the best defensive numbers in the league. The total scoring, the rush defense, the pass defense. That team looks really complete. Meanwhile, the Titans are Swiss cheese on their side of the defensive aspect in this game, and I have no idea how they're going to stop Lamar Jackson. I love what I'm seeing out of the Bills, and there's probably no number I wouldn't take this at, especially it's under a touchdown. I like the Bills to win by 7 or more, so I'm going to grab the -6 here. I can't wait for Monday Night Football to watch them put on a great performance again. Bills are another wagon I want to attach to.
You think Josh Allen is so good, you mixed him up with Lamar Jackson, which is amazing because I do think that Josh Allen, Kenny, I'll let you get back in here. I think Josh Allen is amazing. He's playing amazing football, and I finally feel like, Kenny, you are on our side with this.
No, you couldn't be more wrong, Serena. I love the Titans on Monday Night Football. The Bills are, they beat the Chiefs, they beat the Texans. They're constructed to beat the Chiefs. They're great at stopping the pass. Their run defense is not their strength. I think Derrick Henry is going to have an absolute day on Monday Night Football. The last time these two teams played, we got one of the best memes ever where Derrick Henry stiff-armed Josh Norman to the ground. So, yeah, I'm expecting another repeat performance from King Henry, the Titans at home, Monday Night Football. The disrespect, 6 points? Are you kidding me? That's nuts.
Let's pull this up because we want. Now, listen, guys, we could talk all day about it, but the art department here, working around the clock, has given us what we believe is the perfect way to get us ready for this game that will be happening on Monday night. Take a look at this. This is officially. This is not in the Marvel universe yet. This is only right here in the Game Day universe. Look at that. The Battle of the Contenders, huh? And thank you. That was really nice of Kenny Betts Big to pose as in the background there. That was good modeling work. That's real action right there. This will not be, but it will be coming to your TV on Monday night. And I'm excited about it. And also I'm excited because next week we're able to kick off our new charity as we get into the holiday season. We'll be helping all of these injured tables. The Bills fans have been just once again destroying tables, and we will be helping all of the injured tables that are happening around the country this time of year. That's true. It's a real cause to get behind.
Bills Mafia covered the spread alone.
Danny and I might have to get a side wager going. Not cash, but like a side wager. Like one of us has to do something stupid for that game, and we'll have to air it on next week's show.
Jump through a table bet.
Destroy your own table.
Yeah, that's easy.
You want to jump through a table? The loser.
100%.
Jump through a table.
I'm already on the top rope.
Lock the bet.
I'm already on the top rope.
Lock the bet down then. So hold on, let's make it clear. Are we betting spread? We betting current spread? Kenny, you're taking Titans at current spread, which is +6?
Yeah, I think, is it 6.5? Yeah, we'll go spread for sure.
Don't you dare try to take that hook. There's no hook. It's you take the 6, and I'll take my 6, and you're jumping through a table, brother.
I think I'm seeing 7 at some spot. 7.
Yeah. What's that at William Hill? Let me tell you.
Perfect.
He's taking a spread from 2018 or something.
Right.
Yeah. Serena, if you don't mind, my game this week. I'm not a pro capper. I'm just the degenerate, as it says beneath me, a regular guy that just listens to what's happening in the world. I bet with my gut a lot. The game that I like, that I am the most interested in this week, is a game that I think that most people have lost interest in, and that is the Seahawks and the Steelers. It's really interesting that all of a sudden the Seahawks are underdogs in a game, and I actually like an injured Russell Westbrook on the sideline over a healthy Ben Roethlisberger in the game. I don't think that they should be underdogs. Pittsburgh has shown over and over again this season that they cannot figure anything out. In fact, I was just looking at some of these. Pittsburgh's failed to cover in 4 of the last 5 games. They are ranked currently, and this has nothing to do with the state of the Seahawks. They are currently ranked 27th in points scored and total offense. They're lousy. We can expect nothing from them. I will take a Geno that is still like, is it Jets Geno? Is it the Geno we saw in one drive when he took over for Russell? What Geno are we going to see? I will still take the mystery Geno over what we know and what we've seen this season in Big Ben. So I think I love the Seahawks at +5 in this game, +5.5. Mm-hmm. I know that it's at Pittsburgh. It's a tough place to play. I think the fans have given up on the Steelers this season already anyway. And I just like them to not only cover, but I actually have them in a few parlays on the money line. I got them to win the game. So I take the unknown I take the unknown Seahawks over the known terrible Pittsburgh Steelers right now, and that's how I look at the game. Please convince me why I'm wrong, Danny.
Well, first of all, Geno Smith will now only be referred to as Mystery Geno because that's the coolest name I ever. It's like a weird superhero. He's like a sidekick who like doesn't do anything right. He's like never on time. Mystery Geno. Is everyone here?
Who knows what power he has that day?
He's like smoke, and he just never doesn't go anywhere. Mystery Geno, it's true because he was electric last week. For one drive, I was like, "What am I watching right now?" Like I was baffled to see that was the best he's ever played for that stretch right there. I was really confounded watching that. But yeah, you really don't know what you're going to get. I don't love the 5 for the Steelers. I'm not going to take that. Ben is looking like a shell of himself. It's a pass for me, and I'm going to be rooting for you all the way. But Chris Carson is also out for the Seahawks. I know they've got Alex Collins back there, who's a similar stylistic back, sort of that power run game they play. But there's not enough meat on the bone on either side for me to play this game personally. So hard pass. It's going to be a no for me, dog. It's going to be a no for me.
I'm shocked that we don't have the ability yet with all of the doctors in the NFL to just remove some fingers off of Geno's hand and put them onto Russell's hand. It seems like we should have the ability to do that at this point, right? Why can't we do that? Where's that? Where's the finger transplant technology? That doesn't exist?
You know, I mean, there's possibility. I think this is the first time, maybe the second. I actually agree with you, Kevin. I think Geno Smith has been playing really, really well. And if you think back to the Geno Smith story and why he even looks the way he's looked, like his reputation, he was playing for a Jets Rex Ryan. He was 8-8 his rookie year. Rex Ryan ended up saying in 2020 that he didn't even want him as his quarterback. And then Geno Smith got punched in the face by his own teammate. That doesn't help your reputation at all. Ryan Fitzpatrick comes in for him. And then the next time we hear from Geno Smith was when Eli Manning broke his consecutive start record. And the Giants were like, let's start Geno Smith instead and just piss off a bunch of Giants fans. So furthermore, he is now the backup quarterback for the Seahawks. People were completely surprised that he was even on a team until he showed up and went 5 for 5, 72 yards and a touchdown when he first entered the game against a Rams primetime game. He had the chance to even help the Seahawks take the lead. He threw an interception. Wasn't entirely his fault. His intended receiver, Tyler Lockett, tripped after Smith had released the ball. So I'm all about Geno Smith. Like, I actually think he's going to turn a lot of heads because he's been playing for a guy named Rex Ryan, and now he's got actual coaches who are going to support him.
And plus, if Rex Ryan drafted him, he's got pretty feet, which is nice too, right?
Ding!
Jesus.
Where's my cup? Where's my cup on the foot fetish joke? Come on now. Let's go.
Oh, my God. Wow.
Man.
Serena, what's your game this week?
Oh, my game, man, yeah. Go ahead, Kenny.
No, yeah, I agree with Kevin. If I was going to touch this game, it would be the Seahawks. You don't feel good back in Geno Smith, but like Serena said, Geno Smith was, he was an absolute stud in college at West Virginia. He used to just put up gaudy numbers. And when he came in last week, he kind of looked like he did in college, right? He came in, he was slinging the ball all over the field. So, yeah, maybe, Pete Carroll, new coach, he's reinvigorated. And let's be real, this is Geno Smith's, this is his Super Bowl. He signed a 1-year contract with the Seahawks. He never expected Russell Wilson to get hurt. Russell Wilson never misses a game. So he's got, 2, maybe 3 weeks to play and, show NFL teams that he still can be an NFL caliber quarterback to get a big contract next year. We saw it happen with guys like Jameis Winston, a couple other backups who fill in admirably, and then they go on the next year and get themselves the bag. So Geno, a lot to play for these next few weeks.
Throw up that graphic. I know we just showed you that cool graphic to get excited about the Bills game, but throw up that Geno Smith graphic we have as well for Mystery Geno. Throw that up there.
Oh, my God.
Yes, that's exactly how I picture it. Smoke bomb.
Wow.
Just stays exactly where it is.
Mystery
Oh my
Geno
God, Kevin,
tonight.
did you make both the graphics? I can't tell the difference in
I'm not gonna take credit
quality.
for either of the graphics. It's the graphics
Was that
department here at
Adobe?
Pregaming, obviously.
Adobe Illustrator?
Every expense
Nice,
spared.
dude.
Yeah. You can tell if we're winning or losing bets around here if the graphics look like the Bills one we gave you or if they look like this one. That's kind of an indication of if we're making money
That's a
or
lot.
losing money.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Let's, Serena, let's give the final thought. Your game this week. I know we've all got one we're thinking about. I think you're interested in tonight's game, huh? Or is it?
Yeah, Cardinals, Browns. Expect the Browns. I mean, the Browns at -3. Look, I got to give credit to defensive coordinator Vance Joseph. Held the 49ers to 10 points. They're pretty good on defense, which is just weird, and it's been uncomfortable for me to watch the Cardinals have so much success. You're sort of waiting, like, when are they going to make a mistake? When are they going to make a mistake? They're now 6th ranked in defense this season out of the NFL. The Browns had a close shootout with the Chargers, which to me gives me a lot of I feel good about the Browns going into this game. I guess, so does Vegas here at -3. The bad part is the absence of Nick Chubb. I think Nick Chubb is going to make people feel a little more uncomfortable. He was a big part of that run game. They lead the running game in the NFL. But without Nick Chubb, I don't see that, Kareem Hunt is going to take that load. I don't know why you would stress more of Kareem Hunt when he's doing well. They're probably going to throw in a couple more running backs to help just run the ball more. But overall, I just find this game to be fascinating. I'm curious to see if the Browns can get this win and show the Cardinals that they don't need to go undefeated the rest of the season. They also are missing their head coach, Cliff Kingsbury, who has COVID. I actually think, I would bet the under in this game. More because Kyler Murray, we're certainly not sure about his shoulder injury. I think that they're missing Nick Chubb, so they're going to throw in some other running backs to help, but that might slow down the clock in general. So I actually would just bet the under in this game versus picking Browns -3. But I think the Browns actually get this win today.
Yeah, it's tough for an undefeated Cardinals team to be dogs here. I think the absence of Cliff Kingsbury is actually pretty big. I didn't want to put too much stock into it, but consider the relationship he has with Kyler Murray coming from college, right? Like having that guy in your ear, which you have such a rapport with for such a long time, it really may make a difference. And then we don't really know how that shoulder injury is going to affect Kyler. That's going to be, remains to be seen. So it's tough. It almost feels like, what's the trick here, right? Making the only undefeated team the dog here against the Browns team without Nick Chubb on the field. Where's the trick? Where am I being fooled? I'm sketched by this game.
It does feel like they're trying to sway the public. Everything about this makes you feel like they want the public to look at this and go, this seems wrong here. How does Arizona? Why are they underdogs? What's going on? Arizona seems like a lock. Take them not only to cover but to win. So there is something going on. It makes me very suspect as well. But then, like always, I fall for it anyway. Let's quickly give you your exclusive prop you only get right here. This is a bet you'll only see right here in Pregaming, and then, of course, we'll get to your questions and answers. You have anything you have going on with your teams, your bets, parlays, props, teasers, whatever it could be, fantasy even, get them to us, and we will answer them in a moment with, of course, the big brains of Kenny Bets Big, Danny Brasco, Serena Morales, myself, Kevin Klein. The question, and probably the biggest off-the-field story this week, is not the game that is happening right now on the other side of the pond. Any score update on that one, by the way, if anyone cares what's happening with the Dolphins and the Jags? The major difference between this game and a game that would happen here in America is in America, Urban Meyer hits on people at bars, but over there he hits on people at pubs. That's the major difference in the games, I believe.
Third quarter, 17-13, Jags have the lead, and there's a 26 left in the third quarter.
What did I say last week? Remember last week with the London game, I said the teams that play in London typically do better. The Jags, for a few years, they were the London team. So no surprise there that they're going to look like they're going to get their first win today.
Wow.
This is what we call dumpster ball. Absolute garbage fire of a game. Jets, Falcons, and then Dolphins, Jags. Are they trying to dissuade UK fans from liking football? The only matchup left to make is Texans, Lions. I can't even say these names without feeling nauseous. This is not even fun.
Tough on the tongue.
Yeah, it's funny. We get from them Ted Lasso, and they get from us this game. It's quite a mix, right? You know, it's like that's not a fair trade, really. Let's go to the exclusive prop you only get right here. Gruden, the biggest story of the week. Gruden no longer head coach. There was a talk. We had a talk a few weeks ago on the show about who will be the first head coach to no longer be a head coach of a team. We assumed it would be a coach getting fired for underperforming. Gruden was on that list, of course, for different reasons. And then we find out with all of the history of emails, et cetera, that he will no longer be and was immediately kind of removed from his post. And I think he's been pulled out of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Hall of Fame as well. So there's been quite a few things that have gone on. The question I have for you is, what will be Gruden's next job? And I give you, at these 10-1 odds, he will go back to the booth. Of course, I'm talking about the toll booth on the Bay Bridge. That is your 10-1 odds. Will he go back, be a toll booth operator? At 12-1, the new head coach of the Jags in 2 weeks after they fire Urban Myers. Will he get that head coaching job? And will they go, it's been a few weeks, people have forgotten, we need a coach. At 6-1, he will have a new job as the head of HR for the NFL. Any thoughts on that one?
Oh,
no.
My God.
No. Or this is an even money bet. I think we could get him next week. Bye-bye, Kenny Bets Big. Hello, John Gruden, pre-gaming. What do you think? Huh?
Come on. Kevin, you know that his next thing will either be a book deal or he'll get hired by Urban Meyer as an assistant coach. Come on.
All right. Well, that's an interesting one. I'll throw that in there. Kenny, thoughts?
I mean, those are definitely some great options. It's tough. At first, I thought you were talking about back in the TV booth. I was gonna say there's no chance anyone's ever putting John Gruden back in the TV booth. So I think toll booth operator is probably his best bet. Or
strong bet.
Burgers.
Strong bet.
Who knows?
Danny?
I'm really liking Gruden to take Kenny's spot here. I feel like he's got a good matchup. I was about to throw out some historical trends and against the spread versus Kenny, but Gruden's right there. So no, he's cooked, man. He is Urban Meyer's golf buddy, unpaid.
Yeah.
Danny's new to the show, so he doesn't realize that Kenny Bets Big is irreplaceable.
That's what John Gruden thought too on that 10-year deal.
Yeah. Just wait till we go through all those emails of yours we saw earlier in the show today, Kenny. And you
leak it.
Let's get to
the game day leak.
The game day leak. Rapid fire Q&A. Your questions, our answers. Anything at all that you got going on, you need our take on. It's time to get into the brains. That's right. There's actually brains on the show. And not just red cups full of booze potentially, but also brains as well. So let's get to your first rapid fire Q&As. Here we go. Let's get through them. First question out of the gate is...
Running out of teams for my eliminator, but have 10K on the line. Who will win this week no matter what? Danny, I see the clocks. Something's churning in there. I'm not sure if you got something in there, but this usually means you have a brain.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, that remains to be seen. But I'll give you two. I'll go Colts because the Texans are sorry, and the Colts really found something last week. They should have won that game, and I think they come back with some confidence and start to play a little better. So, the spread is outrageous to bet on, but in an eliminator, I like the Colts to take care of the Texans. And then I really think that the Packers handle the Bears here. They just do it. They're their little brother, It's a easy win for them, I think.
What about Rams and Chiefs? The Rams are playing the Giants. Kenny, you feeling similarly?
Yeah, I agree with Danny. I think if you're looking at the board today, and you had 10K on the line, you need one surefire can't lose. It's got to be the Colts, right? They're coming off that epic collapse on Monday Night Football. They have to come out and win this game to have any chance of salvaging the season. So yeah, I think the Colts are as much of a lock as you can call it.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine what teams you haven't gone through already. I would imagine your good teams are probably already, for the most part, done. So that would make me think you probably have the Colts still left there, and this seems to be a good week to take them. I guess the only other thing, I mean, if you have, if Cincinnati sitting around, I mean, You know me, I'm a big fan of the Bengals, and I don't think it's a lock by any stretch of the imagination. But I just am trying to figure out. I assume most of your good teams are gone already, but if not, maybe you still have a Baltimore floating around. Who knows? Who knows what you have? I think that
if you bet
the obvious
the
pick
Chiefs,
is
you
the
would have
Rams
been
are going to win.
eliminated by now.
Probably, yeah. So I would say the Rams or the Colts has got to be where the smart money is on that one. Next question. What do we got?
Why are games so high scoring this year? I mean, they were actually high scoring last season. I think they finished with the highest scoring season in the NFL in 2020. I know they talked about it as like, oh, there's no fans, you can hear things, but it seems to be that this game is just favorable for the offense in general because refs aren't calling as many offensive penalties. Danny, do you feel similarly?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have numbers on, what it's really been like so far, but you got to think penalties is the reason, right? Pass interference calls are getting really ridiculous. And, you just throw one. I actually think it's also BS that receivers don't get any credit for that. Like you chuck one up 50 yards downfield, you push someone, like if you create that, I feel like statisticians should start crediting those guys. In any case, that's a huge contribution. And then things like taunting, right? Like it's the NFL. You crack somebody and you get in their face real quick and it's a 15-yard penalty just for saying, woo, come on, man.
Right.
So that just keeps the offense on the field again. It's got to be penalties in this sort of offensive favorable calls. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you guys hit the nail right on the head.
Well, I was just going to say, I think it has to do with the fact that kickers are not reliable. You can't count on kickers, so coaches are going for it now more. I just think that's the big thing. No one trusts kickers, so I think you got a lot more going for it on fourth downs to turn into big points, going for 2-point conversions. I just feel like that's the major thing is that there's no such thing as a gimme 30-yard field goal anymore. So I just think that there's more. Once again, I haven't seen the stats either. I do believe this season, if it keeps up the way it is, will be probably the most amount of points put up in any season. But it could all turn around.
And we got an extra week too.
Yeah, another extra week on the schedule this year. It's big. But I think you guys nailed it right. Then hit the hammer right on the nail with the refs. The NFL it's an entertainment business first and foremost. So does the NFL want games that are 14-10? No, they want games that are in the 30s, 40s. So the refs have too much power with the defensive holding first down, 5-yard automatic first downs, or like Danny said, the pass interference calls. The refs just have too much power, and we're seeing a lot of calls this year that are keeping the offenses on the field, allowing them to move down into the red zone from a 50-yard pass interference call. So yeah, we're just going to see more points because that's what the NFL wants.
We need more
Take
cowbell.
those overs. Take those overs. That's what I'm saying. Every game, over, over, over. Final question we have time for, I think. Maybe one more after this. Do the Chiefs bounce back? That is the question. Can you feel comfortable betting on the Chiefs?
Like ever. Kenny, do you feel comfortable
looking at this?
betting
Yeah,
on
looking at this game, I think this is a great opportunity for the Chiefs to bounce back. The Washington football team blitzes a ton.
Ooh, take away a cup. Take away a cup.
Patrick Mahomes is the last guy you want to be blitzing. So I think we're going to see a great game from Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, those guys. So I think they should win this one pretty easy.
Yeah, I feel, and the whole everyone says the way to get to Mahomes, right? Like drop into coverage, cover 2, cover 3, right, and rush 4, get pressure with 4. That's like what everyone says with him. I almost did it too. Keep my cup. The Washington football team obviously has a great front 4, but their defense has seriously regressed. So I think the Chiefs have their way with them here today. They got to show something, but this is a nice bounce back spot for sure. I definitely think they get the win, but I'm not ready to say that the NFL has figured out Patrick Mahomes. Let's not just jump to that after a few weeks, right? They'll get it together, but they certainly don't look like the Super Bowl contenders that we believe them to be year in, year out. So something's got to give.
Hey, I feel like, if you look ahead, if they get this win against Washington's football team, then they play the Titans and the Giants before they play the Packers. So I would say you get a couple wins under your belt, you start to feel good again. The juice is going, and then they got Raiders, Cowboys. Then they're tough again. So if you can get a couple wins to get the momentum going, I could see the Chiefs, yes, bouncing back, but they got a tough schedule after a couple takeaways.
But all of this Mahomes stuff is just a reflection of society. Here's what we like to do. We like to take someone, we like to build them up and make them superhuman, which is what we did with Mahomes. And then to the point where, going into this season, the Chiefs were supposed to win every single game. I think they were favored in every single game, except I think there was one game against Baltimore that it was going to go either way. But other than that, and then as soon as we make someone that becomes so superhuman, we like to kind of tear them down a little bit. We like to say, oh, they were overrated. They're not as good. And then we love the comeback. And I think that the only way that the Chiefs get to do the comeback thing is based on how the season began already. There's no real reason why they shouldn't be performing at this, other than the lack of confidence and the fact that the record shows otherwise. They're pretty much the exact same team that they were at the beginning of the season when everyone thought there's no massive injuries there that people are not accounting for. So, yeah, they will bounce back. They're in a tough division, but there's no reason why I still feel the Chiefs are a lock for being in postseason. They may have to play their way in a wild card weekend, but they will be in postseason action, no doubt.
You just compared like Patrick Mahomes to Britney Spears and the way that we took her down
right.
and put her back up again. There we go.
Free Mahomes. That's what I say. Free Mahomes.
Free Mahomes.
Mahomes, wear a yellow shirt in your next video.
Tell us if you need help, Patrick. Well, that was a great Power Hour. Appreciate you, Kenny Beds Big, for joining us. I hope Thor's okay. Danny Brasco, Johnny Depp couldn't make it today, so we appreciate you joining us as well. Thank you.
That's it.
Well,
that's it. The show's over. Time to watch some football now.
Cheers to that. Any final thoughts before we? Are the Jaguars gonna win this game, dude?
I don't think that's going to happen, but also I guess I'll say what everyone else is saying. Who cares? Who really cares, right? That's the real thought of that game today. Next week, we're very excited when you join us for Serena, myself, and Gruden Bets Big. That'll be the next week's game. And thank you. Enjoy, of course, Pregaming. We'll be back again Monday night. That's right, tomorrow. You can find us on the Instagram Live to break, and then Thursday as well. Enjoy. You can't get rid of us. Well, that's right. We'll be on IG. And if you need us in the meantime, you can find Serena. You can find me. I'll be at an ATM later today pulling out money to give to some bookie. So let's get it happen. Let's make it happen,
Make that money, eat those breakfast sandwiches, and try and lower your cholesterol all at the same time is an impressive feat. Either way, Kevin, I appreciate you. I will see you tomorrow on the Instagram. Enjoy the games. Peace out, Cub Scouts, and cheers.